Hey friends, I'm Otis Gibbs, and this is Michael Corcoran. He's going to talk about writing a Spin magazine cover story about Tom Petty.
Because of the Austin Chronicle column that I used to write, and South by Southwest started, that brought a lot of industry to Austin. So finally, for the first time, I was being noticed by, people in the industry. And so I started doing a couple things for Spin, and one of them was Tom Petty. It was when he did the Full Moon Fever record. I don't know, it was his first solo record, and I, flew to LA, and I was mortified. The thing that's weird about being a music critic, there's no preparation for meeting your idols. There's no school for that. And so I kept thinking, I'm on the airplane flight going, okay, 7 hours from now, I'm going to be fucking talking to Tom Petty. I'm going to be in the same room with Tom Petty asking him questions. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. And you're thrust into this situation where it's like the worst blind date ever. You're terrified. They're bored. You're trying to get a cover story out of it. But Tom Petty had the greatest publicist. Mitch Schneider was his name. And Mitch, he set everything up. He said, okay, you're going to meet Tom here. You're going to go to MCA Records first, and Tom's going to meet you there. Then you're going to get in his black Corvette, and you're going to drive. He's going to take you all around the valley, because the album had a lot of references to San Fernando Valley. And then you're going to go to a record store, a music store, and he's going to play guitar and amps. He just set the whole thing up, and it was great. So that's how it worked out. And, Tom was really droll. He was really funny and stuff. But we when we went to the music store, we met Guns N' Roses were there. And this is before they really took off, and they were big Tom Petty fans. And so they what do they call it in Nashville? They germed him. They germed Tom Petty, and so I got that in the story. It had some good color, and it worked out okay. There was a period where I did four cover stories for Spin within about 7 months, and the deal was that I was the writer that didn't care if they were cool or not. So I did Bon Jovi cover story, the Bangles, Edie Brickell, New Bohemians. And Tom Petty actually, at that point, I think it was 89. He was on the downside. His previous record, Help Me Up, I've Had Enough, or something like that, it was a bomb. Didn't have any hits on it. He was considered too old for MTV. He was pretty much finished. And then he met Jeff Lynne, and then got that restart on his career for that record. But when I heard the record, I didn't think it was all that great. And then it became this huge hit. Shows what I know. Yeah, that record really defined the rest of his career. Wildflowers, She's the One, all that stuff was sort of like that more mid-tempo, droll stuff. Yeah, he settled me down, I said I was so nervous to meet him, but he was so disarming. When he went to MCA to meet me there, everybody was beside themselves. They said, he's never been to the label before. He's never been here before. And so that took a lot of pressure off me, because I knew the publicists there, and they were kind of interacting with me and him and that sort of thing. So that it kind of broke the ice. And then also he's driving around in his Corvette, and that helps out a lot too, because he's pointing out, see that shop over there, that bikini shop? That's where our old bass player works now. Ron somebody was working there. And so he's pointing stuff out, so that helps a lot. As far as the sitting down, next to face to face, that stuff I was still pretty nervous.
Did you see him back before in the earlier days?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw him at Santa Monica Civic. It was New Year's Eve. 1978 becomes 1979. And up to that point, it was the best rock and roll show I'd ever seen. Unbelievable. He reminded me of Patti Smith. He was sort of more of a punk type guy, very overwrought, emotionally. The band kicked ass. It was just, I was blown away by him, so I was really kind of in awe. And then the next time I saw him was at the No Nukes concert, Madison Square Garden, where he's opening for Bruce Springsteen. Him and Bonnie Raitt and Peter Tosh, they had a bunch of acts. But it was a Springsteen show. Bruce. Every time while Tom Petty's playing, Bruce. the Bruce things up. So it was not a good show. And I actually thought the Bruce Springsteen show wasn't that good either. I mean, I think my first 4 times I saw Bruce Springsteen, he wasn't that good. And then I saw him. He played South by Southwest one year at ACL Live, and that was the show. That's the show. And okay, now I get it. But as far as his records go, I probably listen to Bruce Springsteen more than anybody. I saw him when he played in Chicago, and the Replacements were opening. I went to that show, and I just done a big replacement story for Spin, and so I thought I'm going to be gold. I mean, these are 2 guys. I put one on the cover, the other one's got a big story. I'm going to hang out backstage and big ass with these guys. And Paul Westbrook goes, "Oh, it's our favorite fiction writer." And Tom Petty was pretty much the same thing. He was like going, "Well, some of those things in my article, they made me a lot smarter than I am." And I was like going, "Well, yeah, you're kind of mumbling a lot. I couldn't do the mumbling stuff in there." But they were both kind of on me because I think with Tom Petty I did record that one, but for the Replacements I didn't. And my lead was actually something that I wrote it in first person, but it's something that a friend of mine did, where he went to see him in Houston, the infamous Houston show, where the Replacements are completely shit-faced. There's a riot. Paul Westbrook's throwing money into the crowd. It's a real famous show, but I wasn't there. But my friend was. I thought, well, tell me everything that happened. And he threw up SpaghettiOs. That was part of the thing. So I was known as the guy who threw up SpaghettiOs at a Replacement show. But I said, okay, I'll take it. And then when Bob Mayer from Memphis was doing his Replacements book, he called me up and I said, well, I got to tell you the truth. That wasn't me. I made it up. And I didn't want him to put it in his book, So I had to come clean about that. But it doesn't matter who it was, really. It was my thought. It's like it's a guy that threw up with SpaghettiOs at a Replacement show, and he comes to the show and they're sitting in a waiting pool with their clothes on, drinking from the largest bottle of Jack Daniels you can find. That's all there. I had to get that in the story,